All right, this is rolling. Hey, it's me. I'm doing this to show you guys some of my practice routines at home. Um, I just want to let you know that I try to get my hands on my instruments once a day at least. When I was going to school, I'd be practicing in the morning, essentially warming up for about an hour, and then after my classes, I would be practicing in the evening for about 2 hours, working on my etudes and working on repertoire. In other words, I'd be kind of warming up even more, working on things like my Cole stroke or working on glissando, uh, or working on just some sort of technique that I was developing. And then that last hour, that third hour, I would be working on my symphony music or memorizing my music for concerts. So that seems to be like the average regimen for a college student. If you're going to a major conservatory, you're practicing at least 6 hours a day, maybe 8 hours. Um, so because my time is so spare or sparse right now, um, teaching most days and then, gigging at night or composing, I have to set aside uh, slightly less time, but I try to use that time as economically as possible. Before I hit record on this video, I had taken my timer on my iPhone and just hit 30 minutes. Actually, what I do is 35 minutes just in case. I always feel a little bit self-conscious when somebody calls or I get a really important email or something happens where I need to be away for my violin or viola for a little bit of time. I don't feel so bad about spending 5 minutes away during my practice sessions. So 30 minutes is significantly less than what I'm used to, but I use it as carefully as possible. A few things. Right now, I was playing in the SPSCC orchestra. I am no longer playing in that orchestra. I decided it was too much stuff on my plate with Olympia Symphony and being in the Chinook Quartet and writing some music for commission. And so that's going on tonight. I'm kind of thinking about them right now. I've been texting them and saying, hey, have a good rehearsal. But at the same time, I'm thinking about my calendar, thinking about what's coming up in my performance schedule. My next concert is going to be Olympia Symphony, which is in February, mid-February. And then my next concert after that is going to be in March with the Chinook Quartet and some other groups. And then my next concert after that is going to be a gig. We're going to be paid some money to play for a wedding. And those come up kind of sporadically. I'm not too worried about that one. So what I'm going to basically dedicate my practice time tonight on is my Grieg string quartet, which we're hoping to perform for the Chinook Quartet in March, and also the Dakiani piano quintet. And this one, I have actually played the viola part for this one before, and I kind of feel a little bit more comfortable with it. So if you'll excuse me, I'm just going to set this up here on my music stand. You're sharing this with me. I'll move this a little bit so you can see. It's going to be right up here. A few things about my setup at home. I put a practice mute on because I'm in a smaller space than I am in the classroom, and I can't hear, or I can hear really, really, really well, but I can't hear how well I'm projecting. So the difference between my practice mute being on versus it being off, it sounds really big. I used about the same amount of energy, but I could use even less and probably get the same result in this space. So I throw a practice mute on just to help my ear. The other thing is, if I were not using my phone right now to videotape, or video record, I should say, I'm such a curmudgeon, I'm using my metronome. This is a really expensive metronome. It's called a Dr. Beat. I highly do not recommend that you buy this. Do not buy this thing unless you are working on a weekly basis with a chamber ensemble. This thing has all sorts of bells and whistles on it. I can have it be quarter notes. I can have it do other beats besides quarter notes. I can have it do the syncopation. This is really good when you're doing some really complex counting. This one isn't giving me the beat cycle because I think if I click this button it'll change to, there we go. Anyway, I'm old school. I just like the click. So I'm gonna have this set up here. I usually just have this on the stand. I'm just gonna set this off to the side, listening very carefully to the click. And I'm just gonna play through this first page here. We have a few measures of rest here. So that's like the very first, I put the measure numbers in here, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 30, first 31 measures. I'm going to take my handy dandy pencil out, and I'm going to start marking up a few things here. I also want to mention, you might be able to see this behind me. Oh, here. See, I have my mirror behind me. And I usually set up the other way, but I figure since I can see myself really clearly in here right now, I can use that. Every once in a while, when I'm playing, I'll freeze and look and see, where's my bow? Is it right where it needs to be? Is it crooked? A lot of times, I will watch video recordings of myself on stage and notice that I'm doing bowing a little bit different, or the end of the bow is not where it should be. I want to avoid the tip of my bow being like that and the frog of my bow being like this. So that's why I always tell you guys to compensate and aim to have the bow going this way and having the tip pointing that way. I'll spend a lot of time just doing that. I think I've shown you my slow bow exercise that I do. So, few things here. I need to start in third position. Just kind of making some mental notes here. Oh, I need a firmer surface. I need to get a Manhasset stand. That'd be awesome to have a Manhasset stand. Those are expensive. You guys are lucky you have them at the school. I think that sounds richer than what I was doing earlier. So I'm staying in third position. I can jump to first position there. I think I'm gonna, just because I like to do these things, I'm gonna do a little shift there. It's gonna make it sound a little bit more exotic. You can just stay in third position there. That's awesome. That's going to be a good spot to focus on when I get together with the quartet, because I think we're going to start to rush. So I'm going to make some notes here and remind myself not to rush. I'm writing some notations in. Anyway, this is going on way too long, much longer than I thought it was going to be. So a few things I want to point out, things I marked. So we have the beginning here, some cues. I literally just played through this. You might notice that it says Allegro. I put my metronome click to about quarter note equals 60. So I'm playing this about half speed right now. Put the opening finger patterns in. I want to do start in third position. I might even write a Roman numeral 3 so I know third position. I have that little that thing right there. I was trying to tune this G by doing a drone. I'm going to show you quickly how I do that, and we're going to call it a day on this. I'm going to continue practicing without you. So you notice that if I have my first finger down, this goes for cello too, and bass. If I have my first finger down at the octave, I can use that as a drone. And it works really well when your strings are perfectly in tune. One last note, when I practice at home or in general, I always tune, and especially I tune with an electronic tuner, so I know every single string is perfectly in tune. So if anything is out, it's me, it's not the instrument. So anyway, I will continue my lesson, I guess.